As we move through the seasons of life, there comes a time when we begin to slow down and reflect more deeply on our journey. The busyness and rush of our younger years gradually give way to a more contemplative approach for many of us. This transition brings with it a clarity about what truly matters: our well-being, our relationships, and our connection to the world around us. Slow living at its core is about making deliberate choices that align with our values. It is about savoring the simple moments, embracing contentment, and letting go of that which is unnecessary. As I have grown older, I have discovered that many of the habits and ways of living that once seemed indispensable no longer serve me. In fact, stepping away from those habits has not only brought me peace, but has also given me a renewed sense of purpose and joy. In this reflection, I would like to share with you the 7 key shifts I have made in my life, each one helping me to live more intentionally and joyfully in these later years. Whether you are just beginning to explore the idea of slow living or have already embarked on this path, I truly hope that these insights provide both inspiration and comfort. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Let us begin by acknowledging the importance of letting go of television and mass media. There was a time when television was absolutely central to my daily routine. Like many others, I would come home, sit down, and instinctively turn on the TV. News programs, talk shows, and the latest dramas provided an endless stream of entertainment and information. It felt normal, even necessary. However, as the years passed, I began to notice something unsettling. The more I watched, the more disconnected I felt from myself and from the world around me. Although television can be entertaining, it often filled my evenings with noise rather than nourishment. The rapid-fire commercials, the sensationalized news stories, and even the fast-paced plots of the shows all contributed to a mental clutter that left me feeling drained. After an evening in front of the screen, I frequently felt anxious, restless, and emotionally exhausted. Gradually, I started to reduce my TV consumption. At first, it was challenging. I felt as though I was missing out on the latest news or a popular show that everyone was discussing. But slowly, I realized that what I was gaining by cutting back far outweighed what I was giving up. Without the constant hum of television in the background, I found that I had time for more enriching activities. I began to read more, to cook more thoughtfully, and to spend extra moments reflecting on my day. Moreover, letting go of television dramatically improved my sleep. Instead of filling my mind with nightly noise, I developed a peaceful bedtime routine, settling into a good book, journaling about the day's events, or simply sitting in quiet stillness before sleep. These small changes led to deeper, more restorative sleep and a much clearer mind upon waking. I encourage anyone considering cutting back on television to view it not as losing something, but as opening up to new possibilities. With less constant stimulation from TV, you may find you have more time for meaningful conversations, creative pursuits, and quiet moments that truly nourish the soul. Life is filled with beautiful details that we often miss when our attention is completely consumed by a screen. 2. Consider no longer shopping for new things all the time. As I reflect on the decades of my life, I realize just how much society emphasizes the act of buying. We are continually encouraged to acquire more, to update, to replace, and to purchase the next new item. I too was once swept up in that cycle. Whether it was the thrill of a new outfit, the allure of a modern gadget, or the excitement of redecorating a room, shopping became a way of filling the gaps in my life, but over time I began to question, what purpose does all this buying really serve? Does it bring lasting joy, or is it merely a temporary distraction? More importantly, is it truly necessary in my later years? I have come to deeply value what I already own rather than constantly seeking out the newest thing. I have found immense satisfaction in caring for and maintaining the items I have, repairing, repurposing, and even upcycling things that might otherwise be discarded have brought me a profound sense of fulfillment. For instance, there is a well-loved chair that has been with me for many years. Once, I might have replaced it with something newer and more stylish, but instead, I chose to have it reupholstered, giving it a fresh look while preserving its history. Now, every time I sit in that chair, I am reminded not only of the many years it has been a part of my life, but also of the care and thought that went into keeping it. This approach has extended beyond furniture to include clothing, kitchenware, and other household items. Rather than discarding a sweater simply because it is a little worn, I have learned to mend it instead of buying something new. I take the time to care for the pots and pans that have served me for decades, and in doing so, I have come to appreciate their craftsmanship and durability in a way I never did before. Letting go of the need to constantly shop has also lightened my emotional load. I no longer feel the pressure to keep up with trends or accumulate more than necessary. My home feels less cluttered, and my mind is far more at peace. The focus has shifted from acquisition to appreciation, and I have discovered that true contentment lies in cherishing what is already mine. For those of you who may feel uncertain about stepping off the consumer treadmill, I encourage you to start small. Try going a month without buying anything new unless it is absolutely necessary. During that time, take stock of what you already have and ask yourself if those items still serve you. You might be surprised by how much joy and peace can come from embracing what is already yours. 3. Free yourself from the need for brand names and status symbols. When I was younger, I cared deeply about the brands I wore, the car I drove, and the things I owned. These outward symbols of success seemed important not only for how others perceived me, but also for how I saw myself. Wearing a particular label or driving a specific car gave me a sense of accomplishment, as if those items somehow validated my worth. However, as I have grown older, I have come to realize that such things are fleeting. Brand names and status symbols may provide a temporary boost to the ego, but they do not offer lasting happiness or fulfillment. In fact, they often distract us from what truly matters: our relationships, our health, and our inner peace. Letting go of the need for brand names has been one of the most liberating decisions I have ever made. I no longer concern myself with which logo is on my clothes or what emblem adorns my car. What matters now is comfort, functionality, and whether the things I own bring genuine joy or serve a meaningful purpose. This shift in perspective has also changed the way I measure success. No longer do I equate success with material possessions or outward appearances. Instead, I see it in the quality of my relationships, the peace in my heart, and the sense of purpose I bring to each day. I have learned to value experiences over possessions, and that shift has brought me far more joy than any luxury item ever could. For example, I now find much more fulfillment in taking a long, leisurely walk with a friend than in shopping for the latest fashion trend. As I take pride in living simply and thoughtfully, whether that means growing my own vegetables, cooking a homemade meal, or spending quiet moments with loved ones in nature. These are the moments that define my life now, and they are infinitely more rewarding than any brand name item ever was. For those of you who still feel the pressure to keep up with the latest trends, I encourage you to take a step back and ask yourself whether these possessions truly bring you happiness or if they are merely a way of satisfying external expectations. In letting go of that pressure, you may find that life becomes simpler, more joyful, and far less stressful. 4. Disconnect from social media. The rise of social media has revolutionized how we connect with the world. It offers a platform to share our lives, stay in touch with loved ones, and explore new ideas. For many years, I embraced social media as a means to remain connected with friends and family, especially as life led us in different directions. Yet over time, I began to notice how social media affected me. Despite its promise of connection, I often ended up feeling more isolated after spending time online. The carefully curated, picture-perfect lives of others, people traveling the world, enjoying grand events, or achieving seemingly effortless success, left me feeling that I was not doing enough, or that my own life was somehow lacking. Furthermore, the endless scrolling soon became a habit that stole time and attention from the present moment. I found myself mindlessly checking my phone during meals, in the midst of conversations, or even while sitting quietly in my garden. The constant barrage of information, notifications, and updates created a sense of mental clutter that was difficult to shake off. Eventually, I decided to delete my social media accounts, and it turned out to be one of the most liberating choices I have ever made. Without the distraction of Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I discovered that I was far more present in my own life. I reconnected with the people around me face to face through phone calls, handwritten letters, and genuine personal interactions that I had long forgotten. These real-life connections turned out to be far more meaningful and satisfying than anything I experienced online. Moreover, stepping away from social media gave me back a great deal of precious time. Without the constant lure to check for updates, I found that I had ample space for reflection, hobbies, and simply being in the moment. My days became fuller, not because I was doing more, but because I was paying attention to what truly matters. For anyone considering stepping away from social media, I encourage you to try it, even for a short period, and see how it feels to disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with the physical one. You may find that life becomes richer, more peaceful, and significantly less stressful when you are no longer chasing after likes, shares, or constant updates. 5. Avoid big cities and fast-paced environments. In my earlier years, the allure of city life was undeniable. The fast pace, the abundant opportunities, and the constant buzz of activity were all so enticing. Cities seemed to offer endless possibilities, yet as I have grown older, I have found that the very things that once energized me now leave me feeling completely drained. The noise, the crowds, and the relentless rush of modern life all feel overwhelming and stand in stark contrast to the peaceful, purposeful way I now wish to live. Urban environments are designed to keep us perpetually on the move, to encourage constant consumption and activity. Every street is filled with distractions, from the flashing lights of advertisements to the ceaseless hum of traffic. While the energy of the city can be exciting, over time it also becomes profoundly exhausting. I began to notice that after spending a day in the city, I would return home feeling more anxious and disconnected from myself. The constant sensory overload made it nearly impossible to unwind and find genuine relaxation. In contrast, spending time in quieter, slower-paced environments has brought me immense peace. Whether it is taking a gentle walk through a forest, sitting by a calm lake, or simply enjoying the serenity of my own garden. These moments in nature allow me to breathe deeply and be fully present. The stillness of the natural world helps me reconnect with the simple joys of life. The sound of birds singing, the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze, or the golden sunlight filtering through the trees. I understand that not everyone has the luxury of leaving the city behind, but even within urban settings, it is possible to carve out small pockets of calm, seeking out parks, quiet streets, or secluded corners where you can pause, slow down, and simply breathe. Creating these moments of stillness, even amidst the chaos, can make a profound difference in your overall well-being. For me, avoiding fast-paced environments has been a crucial part of embracing slow living. It is not about withdrawing from life, but about choosing spaces and experiences that truly nourish rather than drain me. Whether in the heart of nature or in a quiet urban park, I have learned to seek out places that bring peace and clarity, allowing me to live more fully and intentionally. 6. Do not rush through meals. As I have grown older, I have come to realize that food is far more than mere sustenance. It is an experience, a chance to connect with the people we care about, and an opportunity to appreciate the world around us. Yet for much of my life, meals were something I rushed through, grabbing a quick bite before heading out or eating in front of the television without pause. So rarely did I take the time to truly savor my food. Now, as I embrace a slower, more intentional way of living, I have discovered the true joy of eating mindfully. I take the time to prepare meals from scratch, using fresh, wholesome ingredients that nourish my body. I find genuine pleasure in the process of cooking, the chopping, stirring, and the delightful aromas that fill the kitchen. When it comes time to eat, I sit down at the table, free from distractions, and savor each bite as if it were a small miracle. This practice of mindful eating has not only deepened my appreciation for food, but has also had a profound impact on my health. I have become much more attuned to my body's hunger and fullness cues, and I am less likely to overeat. Furthermore, taking the time to enjoy each meal has transformed them into opportunities for connection, whether it is a simple breakfast with my spouse or a festive meal shared with family. I make it a point to be fully present, to appreciate the flavors, and to honor the effort that went into preparing the dish. For anyone looking to embrace slow living, I encourage you to begin with your meals. Turn off the television, put away your phone, and take the time to truly savor the experience of eating. You might find that this simple practice brings an entirely new level of joy and mindfulness into your life. 7. Let go of the need to be perpetually busy. In our society, busyness is frequently equated with success, and we fill our calendars with endless appointments, activities, and obligations, believing that the more we do, the more valuable or accomplished we are. However, as I have grown older, I have come to see that constant busyness is not a sign of true success. It is a sign that we may be neglecting the things that truly matter. These days, I make a conscious effort to leave gaps in my schedule. I no longer feel compelled to say yes to every invitation or to fill every moment with activity. Instead, I have learned to embrace the beauty of simply doing nothing. Whether that means spending a quiet afternoon reading, taking a leisurely walk, or simply sitting on the porch and enjoying the gentle breeze. I have learned that rest is not a luxury, it is a necessity. This shift has allowed me to be more present in my relationships, more thoughtful in my actions, and ultimately more content with the life I lead. I have discovered that some of the most meaningful moments occur in the quiet spaces between activities, in the stillness, in moments of reflection, and in the simple act of just being. For anyone who struggles with the pressure to always be busy, I encourage you to take a step back, examine your schedule, and ask yourself whether these activities truly bring you joy and contribute to your overall well-being. If not, consider letting go of those that do not serve you. You may find that by doing less, you create space for more peace, more contentment, and more meaningful connections with those you love. 8. Practice gratitude and reflection as part of your slow living journey. One of the most impactful habits I have adopted is the daily practice of gratitude and reflection. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it is all too easy to focus on what is missing or what lies ahead. But as I have grown older, I have learned to pause and appreciate what is already present in my life. This practice has brought me a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment than I ever knew was possible. Each day, I take a few moments, whether in the early morning or just before bed, to reflect on what I am truly grateful for. Whether it is a quiet moment spent with a loved one, the warm glow of the sun on my face, or the gentle sound of birds singing outside my window. These small moments, often overlooked, have become central to my overall sense of well-being. By focusing on these blessings, I have found that life feels fuller and richer, even when it consists of the simplest of experiences. Practicing gratitude has also served to strengthen my relationships by providing me countless opportunities to express appreciation, whether through a kind word, a heartfelt thank you note, or simply by spending more quality time with those I care about. I have learned that for relationships to flourish, they require mindful attention. Reflection helps me to view my life with peace instead of dwelling on regrets or missed opportunities. I focus on the lessons I have learned and the personal growth that has emerged from challenges, and this shift in perspective has allowed me to see my journey with greater compassion and understanding. If you are new to practicing gratitude, I encourage you to start small, perhaps by writing down a few things you are thankful for each day, or by taking a quiet moment to reflect on your blessings. Over time, this simple practice can transform your perspective, bringing more joy and contentment to your everyday experiences. Embracing slow living in our later years means recognizing that as we move through the seasons of life, we are granted a precious opportunity to reflect on what truly matters. Slow living is not about retreating from the world, it is about choosing to engage with it in a mindful and meaningful way. By letting go of habits and activities that no longer serve us, we create space for those things that truly bring joy and fulfillment. For those of us aged 55 to 80, the journey towards slow living can be transformative. It allows us to savor each present moment, deepen our connections with loved ones, and live with a sense of peace that is often hard to find in today's fast-paced society. I encourage you to consider the ways in which you can simplify your life, let go of that which no longer serves you, and embrace the beauty of living slowly and purposefully. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. As we move through the seasons of life, there comes a time when we begin to slow down and reflect more deeply on our journey. The busyness and rush of our younger years gradually give way to a more contemplative approach for many of us. This transition brings with it a clarity about what truly matters: our well-being, our relationships, and our connection to the world around us. Slow living, at its core, is about making deliberate choices that align with our values. It is about savoring the simple moments, embracing contentment, and letting go of the unnecessary. As I have grown older, I have discovered that certain habits and ways of living that once seemed absolutely essential no longer serve me. In fact, stepping away from these habits has not only brought me peace, but has also given me a renewed sense of purpose and joy. In this reflection, I would like to share the 7 key shifts I have made, each of which has helped me live more intentionally and joyfully in my later years. Whether you are just beginning to explore slow living or have already embarked on this path, I hope these insights offer both inspiration and comfort. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Letting go of television and mass media. There was a time when television was absolutely central to my daily routine. Like many others, I would come home, sit down, and turn on the TV almost by instinct. News programs, talk shows, and the latest dramas provided a constant stream of entertainment and information. It felt entirely normal, even necessary at the time. However, as the years passed, I began to realize something deeply unsettling. The more I watched, the more disconnected I felt from myself and from the world around me. Television, though undeniably entertaining, often filled my evenings with noise rather than nourishment. The rapid-fire nature of commercials, the sensationalized news stories, and even the fast-paced plots of my favorite TV shows contributed to a sense of mental clutter that I could no longer ignore. After an evening spent in front of the screen, I often felt anxious, restless, and emotionally drained. Gradually, I began to reduce my TV consumption. At first, it was challenging. I felt as though I was missing out on something important, whether it was the latest headlines or a popular show that everyone seemed to be talking about. But slowly, I realized that what I was gaining by cutting back far outweighed what I was giving up. Without the constant hum of television in the background, I found that I had time for more enriching activities. I began to read more, to cook with greater care, and to spend more time reflecting on the events of my day. Moreover, letting go of television dramatically improved my sleep quality. Instead of filling my mind with the ceaseless noise of nightly programs, I began to create a more peaceful bedtime routine. I would settle into a good book, journal about the day's events, or simply sit in stillness before falling asleep. These simple changes led to deeper, more restful sleep and a clearer, more focused mind when I woke up in the morning. For anyone considering cutting back on television, I encourage you to think of it not as giving something up, but as opening yourself up to new possibilities. Without the constant stimulation of TV, you may find that you have more time for meaningful conversation, creative pursuits, and quiet moments that truly nourish your soul. Life is filled with beautiful details that we often miss when our attention is entirely consumed by a screen. 2. No longer shopping for new things all the time. As I reflect on the decades of my life, I realize just how much emphasis society places on the act of buying. We are constantly encouraged to acquire more, to update, to replace, and to purchase the next new thing. I too once found myself swept up in this cycle. Whether it was the thrill of a new outfit, the allure of a modern gadget, or the excitement of redecorating a room, shopping became a way of filling the empty spaces in my life. Yet, over time, I began to ask myself, what purpose does all of this buying really serve? Does it bring lasting joy, or is it merely a temporary distraction? More importantly, is it truly necessary in my later years? I have come to deeply value what I already have, rather than constantly seeking out the newest and latest. I found immense satisfaction in caring for and maintaining the items I already own. The act of repairing, repurposing, and even upcycling items that might otherwise be discarded has brought me a profound sense of fulfillment. Take, for example, a well-loved chair that has been with me for many years. Once I might have replaced it with something newer and more stylish, but instead I took the time to have it reupholstered, giving it a fresh look while preserving its history. Now, Every time I sit in that chair, I am reminded not only of the many years it has been a part of my life, but also of the care and thought that went into keeping it in good condition. This approach has extended beyond furniture to include clothing, kitchenware, and other household items. Rather than tossing out a sweater because it is a little worn, I have learned to mend it, preserving its value instead of buying something new. I take the time to care for the pots and pans that have served me for decades. In doing so, I have come to appreciate the craftsmanship and durability of these items in a way I never did before. Letting go of the constant need to shop has also lightened my emotional load. I no longer feel the pressure to keep up with trends or to accumulate more than I need. My home feels less cluttered, and my mind feels more at peace. My focus has shifted from acquisition to appreciation, and I have discovered that true contentment lies in cherishing what is already mine. For those who feel uncertain about stepping off the consumer treadmill, I encourage you to start small. Perhaps by trying to go a month without buying anything new unless it is absolutely necessary. During that time, take stock of what you already have and ask yourself if those items still serve you. You may be surprised by how much joy and peace can come from embracing what you already own. 3. Freeing myself from brand names and status symbols. When I was younger, I cared deeply about the brands I wore, the car I drove, and the possessions I owned. These outward symbols of success seemed important not only for how others perceived me, but also for how I saw myself. Wearing a certain label or driving a certain car gave me a sense of accomplishment, as if those items somehow validated my worth. However, as I have grown older, I have come to realize that these things are fleeting. Brand names and status symbols may provide a temporary boost to one's ego, but they do not bring lasting happiness or fulfillment. In fact, they can often distract us from what truly matters: our relationships, our health, and our inner peace. Letting go of the need for brand names has been one of the most liberating decisions I have ever made. I no longer care about which logo is on my clothes or which emblem adorns my car. What matters now is comfort, functionality, and whether the things I own bring me genuine joy or serve a meaningful purpose. This shift in perspective has also altered the way I view success. No longer do I measure success by material possessions or outward appearances. Instead, I gauge it by the quality of my relationships, the peace I feel in my heart, and the sense of purpose I bring to each day. I have learned to value experiences over possessions, and that shift has brought me far more joy than any luxury item ever could. For instance, I now derive immense fulfillment from taking a long, leisurely walk with a friend, rather than from shopping for the latest fashion trend. I take pride in living simply and thoughtfully, whether it involves growing my own vegetables, cooking a homemade meal, or spending time with loved ones in nature. These are the moments that define my life now, and they are infinitely more rewarding than any brand name item ever was. For those who still feel the pressure to keep up with the latest trends, I encourage you to take a step back and ask yourself, do these possessions truly bring you happiness, or are they merely a means of satisfying others' expectations? In letting go of that pressure, you may find that life becomes simpler, more joyful, and considerably less stressful. 4. Disconnecting from social media. The rise of social media has completely revolutionized how we connect with the world. It provides a platform to share our lives, to stay in touch with loved ones, and to explore new ideas. For many years, I embraced social media as a way to remain connected with friends and family, particularly as life took us in different directions. Yet, as time passed, I began to notice how social media made me feel. Despite its promise of connection, I often ended up feeling more isolated after spending time online. The carefully curated, picture-perfect lives of others, people traveling the world, enjoying grand events, or achieving seemingly effortless success, left me feeling that I was not doing enough or that my own life was lacking. Moreover, the endless scrolling became an addictive habit, one that stole time and focus from the present moment. I found myself mindlessly checking my phone during meals, amid conversations, or even while sitting quietly in the garden. The constant barrage of information, notifications, and updates created a sense of mental clutter that was hard to shake off. Eventually, I made the decision to delete my social media accounts, and it turned out to be one of the most liberating choices I have ever made. Without the distraction of Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I found that I was more present in my own life. I reconnected with the people around me face to face, through phone calls, handwritten letters, and genuine personal interactions that I had long forgotten. These real-life connections proved far more meaningful and satisfying than anything I experienced online.